Welcome to Tekedia Daily. I'm Ndubuisi, Ekekwe. Today we will be speaking on essentially trying to estimate the total profits that the telecommunication companies in Nigeria they have actually accumulated since they started operations in the country. We'll be focusing on the large, big ones, essentially the four big telecommunication companies: Etisalat, MTN, Airtel, and Glo. We're not going to waste time looking into how these institutions are operating or what their total operational capacities are in the country. We just go straight to understand how we can extrapolate how much profits they have actually made in the country, since most of them, nearly all of them, are private companies in Nigeria, and you cannot necessarily expect them to share that kind of information publicly. So we will go through the National Information Technology Development Fund, which is actually a fund that is maintained, excuse me, by the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA. And that specific fund, according to the act that set up NITDA, every telecommunication company, especially these big ones, must pay 1% of its profit to the NITDA. And this act took effect specifically for this in 2007. And the, the federal government, through the Federal Internal Revenue Service, is expected to deduct this 1% on behalf of NIDA and then credit NIDA's CBN account. So that means that when these companies make a payment to NIDA, is essentially 1% of the profit. And that is going to be the nexus upon which we are going to extrapolate how much money these companies have made since the operations in the country. We'll be relying exclusively on public statements by the Director General of NIDA, and without any insinuation, and then using that data to extrapolate some of the other missing years that were not captured. According to the Director General of NIDA, Dr. Isa Patanami, he noted that MTN paid a total of 19 billion naira since inception of the fund in 2007. And if you extrapolate that by multiplying it by 100, since it's paying 1%, you could say that MTN has paid about 1.9 trillion naira to the Nigerian government. Globacom paid 1.9 trillion naira into, that's what it has actually made in profit, not what it has paid to the Nigerian government. That's what it has made in profit. So Globacom paid 1.3 billion for 2011, 12, and 2015. And if you do extrapolation, it means that Glo has paid 130 billion for these 3 years. Then when you go to Airtel, Airtel paid 677 million for 2007, 8, and 2015. And then in other years, it declared losses. And this implies that within this time frame, Airtel has actually made a total profit of 67.8 billion naira. Now, according to NIDA, from the data that is public, Etisalat has claimed losses. Since it was founded in 2008, it has paid nothing to NIDA. That means Etisalat has been profitless since its operations in Nigeria. And this is very correlated with the recent issues in the country, where it's having a kind of existential threat as a result of the high loan portfolio in foreign currency to the consortium of banks that funded it to expand infrastructural capacities in across the country. Etisalat has been unable to pay back the loan and has been unable to service that loan. And it's possible that the Etisalat will be taken over by another operator, or also the consumer banks. So we just see how this plays out in the next coming weeks. Yes, so I want to put these numbers in dollars. So I am going back to 2007 when they started making these payments to see how the naira exchange rate with dollar has fluctuated. So based on this graph, I'm just gonna take a mean. Let me say 175 naira because if you look critically, it flattened around 150. That's around 157 over nearly more than 5, 6 years. So there was even a time when it was 127. I remember that time, and then when he now flattened to 196 for a very long time before he now started flying like his gyroscope. So if you take this $1 per 175 naira, we can have these numbers in dollars. So for 2007 to date, MTN has gathered estimated profit of 1.9 trillion in estimated profits in Nigeria. When from 2001 to 2006, we estimate, because there was no data from NITDA, because NITDA, this need development fund, has not been in existence since that time. The rest, MTN made a total of 3 trillion naira within that period. That was the golden era of GSM business, because that was actually the time a minute call was 15 naira. And when 15 naira was 15 naira, that was also the time people were paying for Nokia phones for 47,000 naira, when 47,000 naira was actually 47,000 naira. But it turns out that after less than 5 years, the phone people were paying 47,000 naira turned out to be 3,000 naira. And remember, the Nokia, the companies that make this thing, they did not change the price. It was still marginally the same. This gives you an indication of the kind of profit these telecommunications companies, especially MTN, made at the beginning. They were selling SIM cards 25,000 naira. Some people bought 27, 37,000 naira at the inception. But today, SIM card is roughly 200 naira, you get it. So it gives you an idea how much money they made. So we are going with 3 trillion naira profit for MTN within the 2001 to 2006. And with this, we come down to a total capacity of 4.9 trillion naira. And then the total, uh, take it into dollar, is about 28 billion. So $28 billion. Now you take it into Airtel from 2007 to date. Airtel has made 67.8 billion naira. And of course, before 2007, Airtel existed in different ways. So there were so many incarnations. So we are essentially going to forget it because the present Airtel did not pocket that money. So with this, we estimate just like that Airtel has actually generated a total profit of 387 million naira, $387 million since its inception in Nigeria. Then Etisalat is very easy. Etisalat has made absolutely zero profit in Nigeria. Period. Period. $0. So that's it. So if you go to Glow, in 2011, 12, 15, he paid a total of 130 billion naira in estimated profit. That he made a total of 130 billion in estimated profit. So if you go back to 2003, to all the missing years, because he didn't pay in 2013, 14, and 2009, we estimate that he made a total profit of 600 billion. Uh, this was also a good time for Glow because even though MTN was dominant, Glow was early enough to have actually enjoyed some of the good moments. So it was founded in 2003, and they had these nuclear profits they generated within that time frame. In short, some of these companies like MTN and Glow, they were selling services, even that if you make a phone call to somebody, you know, they call it per minute. In short, but I give Glow credit because it was actually Glow that pioneered per second billing. In other words, if you have a phone call for 59 seconds, it's going to be billed differently if you have it for 2 seconds. In the past, whether you spoke for 2 seconds or you spoke for 59 seconds, it was still going to be the same thing. So Glow was very good in making sure that in the industry they were able to change that. So we estimate that Glow has made a total profit of 730 billion naira in Nigeria, and that is about $4.2 billion. Now, the good thing here is this, that NITDA still is not just interested in what it has gotten. According to the DG, Dr. Pantani, he said that he had written to companies like Microsoft or Cisco, Oracle, and some of them are not have written and responded. But the point is that they're supposed to pay 1% of their profits to the Nigerian government through this development fund. So watch out when you when you things that start happening in the country. It's going to be a very exciting how you see how Facebook, Cisco, and Microsoft, all of them begin to respond and what they're actually going to do, because they have to comply with these regulatory requirements to operate and do business in Nigeria. Now, but this is not the only fee. You know that if Industrial Trading Fund is also collecting 1% of payroll, in other words, the total payroll capacity of a company, it must give ITF 1% of that. Just imagine that. If Shell should pay 1% of his payroll to ITF, if ExxonMobil, if MTN, that gives you how much capacity, how much money some of these government agencies are actually sitting upon. But it's possible that they may not be getting this money, and it may be possible that government has not become very efficient in actually making sure that these companies comply. Now, the NASDAQ, that is the Space Development Agency, is planning its own. It's looking for a percentage of something, just like you have in NIDA, so that company will still have to pay. So this gives you a very big picture how these companies are operating. And if you go back to the telcos, who are essentially the elite technology companies, because of their size, the government can attack them, government can go to them, neither can get money from them. MTN has made a total of $28 billion since its founding in Nigeria, and Glo is $4.2 billion, and Airtel is 387 million, and Etisalat, unfortunately, zero. And MTN has invested about $2 billion in infrastructure capacity. He paid in the license uh, roughly about 200 and something million dollars. If he has taken $28 billion in profit, it means that the MTN should forever be grateful to Nigeria, because that actually opened up a lot of great moments for it. In short, MTN in this golden moment in the MTN South Africa, the Johannesburg, South Africa, was actually estimated at a total stock capacity of $40 billion. It's around $16 billion today because of its crisis with the Nigerian government, where it was fined initially more than trillion naira before it was later reduced. So the challenge for MTN is, how do you get back to that good moment? Of course, we know about the OTT, WhatsApp, Skype, how all these technology companies are eroding the ability for these companies to make profits. And that means that even in future, they may not be as profitable as they were in the past, when there was no competition and when there was no regulation. But nevertheless, I promise you that every technology company in the next 5 years may be paying that NITDA fund, because the new DG, he seems to be on top of his game. This is Tekedia Daily. You're listening to Ndubuisi Ekekwe. Thank you.